What's up, people? I am back for another video. Continuing down the Ip Man train franchise. We got two more movies. We got this one, and then I gotta do Ip Man 4 next week, which I'm actually gonna go in blind. I've never seen that one. I remember hearing about it coming out. I don't know why I never saw it at the time. I think because it was very, like, I had a low profile release, and I just didn't remember it was coming out, so. So it'll be kind of cool going in blind to that. But Ip Man 3, I remember seeing. I'll admit I did not watch this one as much as the other two, but this one I liked really well. And pretty much it's Ip Man versus Mike Tyson. Yeah, he's not called Mike Tyson, as he's called Frank, which I thought he did a really good job with the actually having him do subtitles. Granted, the version I watch is on Netflix, so it's dubbed, but it works, and you can tell because Mike's lines, the way he was talking, you could tell it was dubbed. So it was like he was actually speaking in subtitles, which is awesome. But yeah, and I actually really like this one. I like this one had like almost like more of a bad guy in the sense of you had these thugs wanting this school. So Frank basically he runs this underground like fight league, and he wants to buy this school, but basically he orders a guy to do it. And the guy starts forcing his way onto the school to the principal, so Ip has to like protect it. And while this is happening, and I actually like the story with his wife, who she's starting to get cancer, and you could tell that she wants Ip to be more with his family, and because Ip is starting to become a little more focused on, martial arts and stuff. So, and I actually love them. Thought his kids did a good job. Ip Chun and Ip Ching. I thought they did a good job in this. Yeah, I'll admit it's not as strong story-wise, I would still say, to the first two, but I really did like this one. I thought the fights were great. The fight the main fight where he took on a bunch of guys, and big fight with Chun Tin, or Tin Chi, I could be fucking that guy's name up, but the other, Wing Chun master who he ends up fighting later in the movie was pretty good. And I thought all around there was some really good fights. The fight between him and Tyson was pretty good. The choreography was pretty good. And it wasn't like this big fight in front of like fans or anything. It was just in an office. Just them. No one there. Just them in an office. I kind of like that. I like that it's just very low profile. Because they could have easily had it be in front of a crowd. But they're like, no, we already did that in the second film. So we're like, this time around, we're just gonna do the fight in an office and kind of keep it low profile. And I think they kind of did the same thing with the last fight too. There was no crowd. It was a little private fight. I think that aspect about this one I like that the fights are a bit more low profile. So, but overall, I think it's a solid third film. And if they had never made the fourth one, this one can work as like the conclusion, because this is like the last one with his wife, because it ends with his wife. Because throughout the film, she starts having cancer. And then, yeah, it's revealed that in the end, before they go into kind of what it goes on to do, becomes like Grand Master, it mentions that, yeah, she succumbs to cancer in 1960s. But it's still like, overall, very well done film. I mean, all the Ip Man films are very well done, so can't wait to do Ip Man 4. But out of 10, I would probably give this one like a 7.5. 8. I'll give it an 8. I genuinely enjoyed it. The fights are fucking great. I think they continue the trend of the fights being really good. So, but tomorrow I am doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. That movie is uber batshit. Like, I remember, because I've only seen it once. It is batshit. But you do have, like, a young Matthew McConaughey and I think Renee Zellweger. I could be wrong, but I know it's one of the Renees. I think it is Renee Zellweger, but it's, like, before they became, like, big names. But, yeah, this movie is uber batshit. It's not scary. Leatherface, like, there's literally, and you're going to see the thumbnail of my video for that one. Leatherface basically isn't drag. It's basically, yeah, the film just goes way, way out. Even more, because, like, the second one is batshit, but this one, like, goes like extreme. So, but yeah, we'll get started here. So the film opens up. We kind of see, like Ip Man's life now. He's living a low profile life now, being a kung fu teacher. We see even this opening scene where we see Bruce Lee a bit older now, which this is this like almost like continues a bit because it's 1959, so a bit after, bit later than the second film. Yeah, we see Bruce's age now, so he asks Ip to be his teacher, and he says like he's super fast, so Ip to like give him Ip to like test that lights a cigarette. He basically wants like Bruce to like almost kick it out of his hand before he can light it, and he misses every time. The choreography for this, and it's like I wonder how many times they had to do that take. And then you had Ip like kick light, like not light. He kicked like the cigarettes at Bruce, and Bruce couldn't catch them all. So, and he he leaves it open to where it makes it seem like that because he says he points to the door, so it's making it seem like no, you're not. I'm not teaching you. But then yeah, we see him now Ip with his family. Now his son's born. His two sons. One of his sons gets into a fight at the school with another kid, and that night they end up bringing the kid to their house, having dinner, and the kid's father, Chun, I'm just gonna call him Chun. I can't say his last name. Chun show up and act like he acts all cordial, but you could tell that he has a little bit of beef with Ip. So Frank needs the school to become one of his like basically because he wants it for like money reasons. So he orders like one of his guys to basically arrange that. So they go to the school and basically try to strong arm the principal to selling. The principal refuses. So they end up beating up the principal, and then Ip shows up, stops them, and they run away. And basically, and that's basically the film for the rest of it is they have to try to protect the school. So because that same cop that you saw in the last film, like he worked for the British guy in the last movie, he actually is in this one. I do like that in these movies they really do bring back characters that you see in previous films. Like they continue it like very much perfect. So one night, Frank's men try to break into the school, and like set it on fire, but Ip shows up and we get like a big fight. Ip takes out some guys, and Chun shows up and he takes out some guys. So we get like just cool fights here, and then they take out, they scare off the men, and then basically they try to order it. While this is going on, Wing, his wife, she ends up getting diagnosed with cancer because she starts just having problems with like one day, like her stomach just starts to hurt, and she starts to kind of like in a way resent, not resent her husband, but she's like definitely starting to feel alone because she wanted to do like dance lessons with her husband, and it ends up missing it because he had to take a picture because he was out doing something. So Chun gets hired by the guy who works for Frank hires him because he gets embarrassed by one of the shop owners. So that guy Chun attacks him, which the choreography in this is pretty good, and I almost feel like it is a bit more hard hitting, and they're using a lot more weapons in this one, like because I feel like the first one was mainly like just martial arts. The second one, they did use blades, especially in the last fight. But this one, they do it a couple times. There's a couple of moments where they're just using weapons. So, but so he after doing that, he gets because he's a friend of it, tells him about his injury. One of the nurses who actually works for Frank does a tells him that he needs to see Ip, but it's just a distraction so they can take the kids. Which I'm gonna be honest, I think this was kind of the fight was cool. I didn't need the whole kidnapping angle. I think they could have done something else, or if they were gonna do kidnapping, the whole kidnapping kids was just kind of random. It just I'm like, okay, now we're doing like threatening to take kids to slavery just to buy a real estate. I'm like, granted, there is a scene where Frank does teach that guy a lesson, but it is a bit weird. Like, whoa, we're going to this level now. I think they could have done something else just to have that fight happen, but that's fine. It doesn't ruin the movie or anything. It's just a little observation I'm making. But yeah, so they kidnap the kids and basically tell Ip that they need to get the principal or they will sell the kids to slavery. Ip tries to, initially you could tell he wants to go in by himself and take them out. But the guy orders Ip to basically almost embarrass himself, so grovel to him so he can get his son back. But Chung shows up, and because he ends up taking Chung's kid too. So yeah, we get a big fight. And I'll admit, the fucking choreography for this was really good. It's not as good as like the choreography where it takes out the 10 guys in the first film, but the fight is pretty good. Pretty good fight, and Ip has to kind of hold his own and while trying to save his son. Before the police show up, they end up arresting everybody. Then Frank essentially fires that guy and then hires a Thai boxer to take out Ip. And that night, Ip decides to start spending, basically at this point in the film, he starts deciding, yeah, I'm going to start kind of putting my family over this. Because, yeah, he nearly lost his kid. And it's a good, like, character moment for Ip. So he starts spending more time with his wife and learning to dance. He even lets Bruce. He basically agrees to teach Bruce Wing Chun if Bruce, because Bruce is actually the guy teaching the dancing. So they do that, and this is where because that actually no, before anything. You have the fight, the confrontation between Ip and Frank, and my God, I thought it was great. And basically, Frank agrees that if Ip can last in a 3-minute fight, 3-minute round with him, that he'll back off the school. So, and initially, Ip's having a bit of trouble because of Frank's power, but the choreography on both sides was very well done, and they really did a good job of showing different styles. Like every hit Mike threw, you felt, and then Ip, having to try to find a way to take, like counter the power. It was very well done, and I really like how low profile it was. There was no audience, not one audience, not even like one person there. It was just them in Frank's office for 3 minutes, and it was very well done. But yeah, he ends up lasting as like a stalemate. Frank agrees to let him, basically, he ends up backing off. And this is where Ip starts spending more time with his family. But Chung, this is where Chung kind of makes his move and decides that he declares that Ip's style of Wing Chun is basically the fake Wing Chun and mind form is real, and challenges Ip to a fight. And Ip initially doesn't show because, he's spending more time with his wife. And at that point, he was dancing with her. And I thought this part of the story was a bit sudden. And I get it. You could tell he was jealous from the beginning. But it felt like maybe they should have just ended the film after the fight with Tyson. Maybe it would have been a bit shorter, but I didn't need like okay. No, nothing wrong with that last fight. I liked it. Was great. I'm gonna go more into it in a bit, but I just feel like you could have that last fight. Maybe you should have put in the middle, not the end. Because to me, the Tyson fight almost felt like that they should have ended it there. You know, I don't know. Maybe it just it helped. It had that feeling of like a final fight to me versus the actual final fight of the movie. That I'm like, you probably could have just put that like in the middle. I would have probably swapped that and put it like either towards the end or even in the middle of the film. Because it just, I feel like the Tyson fight had more of that finality feel. He beat Tyson. The school is protected now, and that was like the other problem is that was the bulk of the movie. Yeah, Chung had his little thing, but it felt like the bigger story was it passed to protect the school, and I felt like that got resolved, and I'm like, oh, the movie's over now. And now he's spending more time with his wife. I just felt like that was a way better point to end it. But no disrespect, the final fight was good, and I guess we can go into it now. But yeah, Ip initially doesn't show his wife's health is worsening and Ip spending more time with her, which that was beautiful to watch. But she secretly arranges a fight between them because she feels like he's only spending time with her because she knows she's dying. And she wants Ip to be, like, happy. So their relationship was always very well done. Yeah, it's not, like, gonna be, like, relationships like, obviously, like, let's say, like, Rocky and Adrian or something like that. It's a more kind of reserved relationship, but I actually think it works throughout the three films, following them. And then, when you learn she dies, it is pretty sad, so... I think they did a good job throughout the three films, so they had really good chemistry. Like I said, it's very reserved and more laid back. Not laid back in the like literal sense, but what I meant is it's not gonna be as this big relationship drawn out like the other like most films are. But also, cheers really quick. But so yeah, we have the fight between Ip and Chung, and it was pretty even initially, and I like that they kind of did switch between weapons. They switched from like sticks, to like blades, to fists, and the choreography was pretty good, but Ip ends up winning in the end. And Chung agrees to take down the sign and basically says, you know what, maybe I should spend more time with my family. And then, yeah, that's pretty much where the film ends. It goes into how his wife does succumb. And you do get like a little, like almost like montage of his wife throughout the film. So I thought that was actually a little beautiful in the end. And then, yeah, and now he ends up becoming the Grand Master. And yeah, overall, I really like this film. Not as strong as the first two, but I really think it's very well done in terms of fighting. These films continue the choreography and just they put all the work that everybody puts into them. And it was cool having Bruce Lee in the film, even if he wasn't like a big part of the film. It was just cool having him in there. The way they send off Wing, his wife, is very well done. I like his kids being in the film they're actually like decently acted kids. Granted, I watched the dub version, but they work. Mike Tyson was great, and you could tell he has appreciation in general for Donnie Yen and just this world in general. So it's like kind of cool that he actually even put the work and actually trying to learn. I don't know if he actually learned the language or if that was just Hollywood magic. Either way, it worked. You can tell, and just the fighting, that fight scene in general, was just awesome between him and Ip. It was very, and I like how low quality, not low quality, but I meant to say low key it was. It wasn't this big drawn out fight. Well, I mean, not drawn out fight, but it wasn't like there wasn't a big crowd. It wasn't in like a ring because they could have did that because they have Mike Tyson. They could have made it this big spectacle, but no, they kept it very low key. No audience. It's just a 3 minute essentially just round, and yeah, great movie. I liked that element with the kids, and that's why I was just only mainly saying that final fight was cool between Ip and Chung. The choreography was awesome, but to me, the film kind of should have ended after Ip and Frank fought because it just the whole point really of the school, the film was the school, right? Frank wanted the school, Ip had to protect the school, and I felt like Ip did his mission. I think if they could have did that Chung thing, like that felt like they could have did that in the beginning. Either not maybe not that early in the beginning, but maybe like that could have been like the pre-fight before the main fight between him and Frank. I felt like that's where that fight should have been. It felt like it almost felt like, I don't know. It was a weird way to, because the movie kind of felt concluded once he beat Frank, or it went to like a stalemate, and he got the school to get left alone, because that was like the point. It accomplished his mission. So overall, besides that little criticism, overall it's a pretty good movie. These movies are great these movies are great. I think all around the martial arts is great. The whole Ip in general is a great character. Donnie Yen as Ip just makes these movies, and just his fact he's a family man, but also just he does the right thing. Ultimately, that's what his character is in these movies. So I'm interested to see what happens in Ip Man 4. I kind of want to, especially if it is a really good one, which I think I'll like it. I don't know if it will be as good as the first one, but I have a feeling I'm gonna like it. I can't see it being particularly bad. It may not be like, maybe it won't be on par with even this one, but at least I have a feeling it will still be decent and I'll like it in a way. So we'll see. Going in blind on that one. So and sometimes it's definitely fun to go in blind sometimes on the movie, because you want to see what your reaction will be. So I'll be doing that next Tuesday. Tomorrow I will be doing Lady in the Water, continuing down the M Night train, and I remember this one just being really weird. I remember there being like, I think I liked some of the performances, but there was definitely some weird elements to it. And to be fair, it was forever ago since I watched this movie. I think I watched it when it was like, I think one of the movie channels was playing like a bunch of M. Night movies at the time. And I think I had just got done watching, like, it was either The Village or Signs. It was one of those that played before it, and then this came on. But that was forever ago, so it will definitely be like with The Village last week. It might be essentially me going in blind again. So we'll be watching that tomorrow. Thursday will be, like I mentioned, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. So, but tomorrow, Lady in the Water. So, but besides that, Ip Man 3 is pretty good. 8. I'll probably give it 8.5 out of 10. We'll go. I can't wait for Ip Man 4. So I'm gonna cheers, and I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. But as usual, fuck Warner Brothers. Fuck Disney. Fuck Biden. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace.